What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a top 10 best male-female duet songs in alternative rock. Brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, patron of the channel, Slade Said. Thank you, Slade Said. Appreciate you. Appreciate everything that all the patrons bring. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen. We do some cool stuff for you, and we put up videos every single day, and we definitely could not do it without the patrons. All right. Slade Said knows a ton about music. The lists that they curate are always just absolutely fantastic. Slade said, for my July list, I tried to find the best male-female duet songs in alternative rock. Turns out there were fewer than I thought, so the task was a bit trickier than I initially expected. I also wanted to only include an artist once, which of course increased the difficulty level. In the end, I did come up with 10 good examples, I think. I am sure that these are 10 good examples. So if you haven't been with us before, the music will not be in the video, but it will be at a Vimeo link below. So click there and follow along with us. Let's get to number 10. You see it below. We got Candy by Iggy Pop and Kate Pearson, the album Brick by Brick in 1990. So I said we kick off the list with probably the most commercially successful song on the list. Iggy Pop should be known to everyone on this channel, so I'll not go into his backstory. The song Candy is a duet with Kate Pearson from the B-52s, and it was Iggy Pop's greatest mainstream hit as it reached the top 10 in various countries and reached the top 40 in the US. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Slade Said. All right, Candy, Iggy Pop and Kate Pearson. Really good song. They're really catchy. You know, basically he misses her. She says he messed her over and hurt her real bad. But just the tone of it, like the spoken introduction by Iggy, and, you know, it just sounds really good. Kate sounds great. I am not a B-52s fan. That is the understatement of the year. But her voice is really good, and I liked it here. It really worked with Iggy's. I like the contrast of them. So that was a great choice. Next up, we got The Magnetic Fields, which is, of course, Stephen Merritt and Claudia Gonson with Yeah, Oh Yeah, from the album, the iconic album, 69 Love Songs from 1999. I listened, maybe did I listen to this whole album? I think I did during our album draft, or maybe I didn't quite make it through all of it. But Slade said, next up, I have chosen the duet between Stephen Merritt and Claudia Gonson. This song, which has been featured before on this channel, uses the two voices in a very clear manner. As while the female singer is moaning about how badly she is treated by her husband, he mostly just agrees with her statements with yeah, oh yeah, which is therefore not just a sing-along theme, but actually adds more to the lyrical content than you would expect. Yeah, oh yeah, obviously a quick song. When you have 69 songs, that's why it's called 69 Love Songs. You gotta be kind of quick. But they get a lot of content in here. Basically, she's just singing it. Like, is it this? Is it that? Did you fall out of love with me? And then eventually, would you kill me? Yeah, oh yeah. And then Stephen comes in and sings about the money. He thought money was everything, and he realized it wasn't. How he played on her fears. It's a very cold song, right? The atmosphere of it's pretty cool, almost dream poppy, almost shoegazy mixed into the background. But the content is as cold as can be. Next up, we have 11th Day Dream, who I've never heard of. Rick Rizzo and Janet Beveridge Bean. It's all a game from the album Live to Tell in 1991. So it said for our next pick, I went with Chicago's great and vastly underrated alternative rock band 11th Dream Day. In 1991, which was an incredible year for rock music, they put out what I believe is their best album, Live to Tell. The band was founded by guitarist and lead vocalist Rick Rizzo, whose playing style was clearly influenced by Neil Young, and drummer and sometimes vocalist Janet Beveridge Bean, and these two perform a great duet in this song. It's a game, 11th Dream Day. That song is 4.5 minutes long, but it didn't seem like it, right? It just ended, I was like, this thing could keep going. Really enjoyed, the star of this for me was the instrumentals, right? The arrangement, the guitar work was just fantastic and just really interplayed with the song nicely. I don't have a lot else to say about it, but I did really enjoy 11th Dream Day. I keep wanting to call them 11th Day Dream, but yeah, fantastic. Next up at number 7, we have the Walkabouts, Chris Ekman and Carla Torgerson. Follow Me an Angel from the album Nighttown in 1997. Slade said Seattle's the Walkabouts MVPs were lead guitarist and vocalist Chris Ekman, who also wrote pretty much all of their music, and rhythm guitarist and vocalist Carla Torgerson. They pretty much divided the lead singing between them so that Chris would be the sole singer on one song, and then Carla would be the sole singer on the next, apart from shared choruses. On a few occasions, they shared the lead vocals, such as in this song, Follow Me an Angel from their 1997 album Nighttown. While the song has a great melody line, the true beauty lies in the atmosphere or mood of the song. Now, I did a top 10 reaction for Slade Said of the Walkabouts. I had to go back and look. It was in August of 2021, so it's almost 2 years ago. I cannot believe that. Follow Me an Angel. It's from the album Nighttown, remember, and it's the first song on the album, and it really sets that scene, right? You feel like you're at night in the city, It's a little dirty. It's a little grimy. You kind of better watch yourself a little bit. Like, it's okay, you're walking around, but you kind of got your head on a swivel. I mean, that's what it feels like the entire time with that arrangement, man, with the sound effects. It's just fantastic. Like one of the lines, follow me an angel, follow every fool I can tonight, follow me an angel from the rooftop. These streets don't seem so bright, right? It just sets it so well. So Slade said was 100% on when they were talking about the atmosphere of this song. Almost halfway through this thing, we got Isabel Campbell and Mark Lanigan, Honey Child, What Can I Do, from the album Ballad of Broken Seas in 2006. One of the more obvious choices, Slade said, for me to include on a list such as this was a duet between Isabel Campbell, formerly of the band Bell and Sebastian, and Mark Lanigan, who should need no introduction to the audience of this channel. Yes, I knew Slade said would pick a Mark Lanigan. Together, they released 3 albums with songs mostly written by Isabel, and so they were typically less dark and moody than what you would expect from a song involving Mark Lanigan. And on occasions, they remind me of duets between Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra, which is a good thing. Honey Child, What Can I Do is from their first collaboration. It's a sweet love song of the kind Mark did not do a lot of during his career. You could say that. Honey Child, What Can I Do? They basically sing the song together, in harmony. Basically, the whole song. It is a sweet song. That's the best way I could put it. Not what I expected out of Mark Lanigan. Nothing wrong with it. Basically, they're both just lonely, and maybe they could just kind of be with each other to ease that loneliness. That's basically what they want you to do. And Isabel has this nice, sweet voice that is a nice contrast to Mark. And when you put them together, they sound really good. Next up, we have Thin White Rope, which is Guy Kaiser and Joanna Gallows-Dopkins, Up to Midnight from the album The Ruby Sea in 1991. So it said Thin White Rope from Davis, California is another band which is grossly underrated. I've never heard of them. They released 5 excellent albums between 1985 and 1991, so they were busy before calling it quits. It's a real pity that they didn't become huge since they had a lot to offer. But the world is not fair. Even a child knows that. This is true. Music business surely is not fair. The MVP of the band was guitarist and lead singer Guy Kaiser, and on this song, he invited Joanna Gallows-Dopkins from the band Thornacopia, also from Davis, California, to join him on the vocals to great effect. Joanna and Guy would later marry, but that's a different story. All right, that song ends very abruptly. Slade said that it does that. It goes into another song that usually is played together, but Slade said not to do that on this one. Just a really good song. You got that kind of polyphony lyrics right at the start where they're singing different things, but Guy and Joanna work really well together. I think the song is about a one-night stand, or not one-night stand, but friends with benefits. I don't know the correct term I would use here, but he comes to see her at night and he leaves and there's no real relationship there, but she wishes there was. I could be way out base, but that's on first listen and first look at the lyrics, but just a really good piece of music, both the arrangement and the way they played off each other. Great production. Next up, we have Marissa Nadler with the great John Cale with Poison. It was a single in 2019. So it said, next up, I picked the wonderful Marissa Nadler, who in 2019 released a single between albums with a song featuring Velvet Underground legend John Cale. This song is a truly stunning song, and their voices blend in perfectly once John Cale enters the song. It makes you wish they would have done more work together. All right, Poison, Marissa Nadler and John Cale. Their voices do just blend seamlessly. It's really a smart move, and John's not on this much. He just comes in on the chorus, the second time the chorus is repeated, and on the outro, but it works because Marissa's basically, she's singing to this guy that, they love each other, they have passion for each other, but they're really nothing but poison. They're no good for each other. Said, I've never been happy in my life, that I never will be as your wife, and there's some things you can't take back. You said it yourself. Do you remember that? That's verse 2. And then John comes in with her. Babe, we're still kind of young. Should we cut our losses and run, run, run? Days in the barrel of a gun. Are we nothing but poison? And they finish out 4 times saying, are we nothing but poison? And many of us in this life have been in those kind of relationships where you have passion and feeling for that person, but you're never happy with them. It always ends up in arguments. And you're just in this cycle of like, I got to get out of this, but you can't do it because you have that attraction to each other. So a wonderfully written song, really smart having a guy come in at the end, right? So you get the two-sided feeling out of it. All right, next up, we have the great Nick Cave and the great PJ Harvey. Henry Lee from the album Murder Ballads in 1996. Nick Cave's biggest commercial hit was obviously Where the Wild Roses Grow with Kylie Minogue, at least until some of his other songs like Red Right Hand and Oh Children were used in mainstream series and films, Slade said. But since everyone and his dog knows that song, at least outside of the US, I opted to go for the other famous duet he made on the Murder Ballads album, the duet between Nick and PJ, of course. I found its reworking of the traditional folk song Young Hunting, shown in some variants as Love Henry. I also found during the making of the sexually charged video, Nick and PJ discovered a mutual passion for each other, sparking a short but intense 4-month relationship. And I'm assuming that's true, but don't believe everything you read on the internet, so take that with a grain of salt. If you watched our album draft series last year, and if you didn't, why didn't you, right? One for every year. Trey and I pick our top 5 albums each for a top 10. Nick Cave is all over that, at least for this guy. I mean, Trey loves him too. We're going to see him in October. This is not the same Lee, Henry Lee, but there is a video out there on YouTube. Just search Stagger Lee Nick Cave live. One of the greatest live performances ever, but let's check out Henry Lee. Nick Cave and PJ Harvey, just 2 incredibly underrated artists, at least here in the United States where I am at. Just a great song. And I mean, at the end of the day, she loved him. And he tells her he's got another girl that he loves more. And so he leans in for a last kiss and she kills him and throws him down into a well and says that other girl can wait forever, basically, for you to come home. But that's what this whole album is. It's murder ballads, right? This whole album is murder ballads, both older ballads and newer ones. But that song I mentioned, Stagger Lee, is the song right before this on this album, the Kylie Minogue that duet that Slade Said mentioned is on there. There's a lot of different things. Now, Shane McGowan from the Pogues is featured on the last track along with Kylie and some others. So it is just, it's a really good album. It's really interesting. If you just listen to this song and didn't really key into the words, you would think it's a love song, right? Because you're not paying any attention. But in Nick's very clever way, that is not what this is, but great choice. Next up at number 2, we have Steve Wynn and Jeanette Napolitano, I always have a hard time saying her name, Conspiracy of the Heart, album Kerosene Man in 1990. After the breakup of the Dream Syndicate in 1988, Slade Said, band leader Steve Wynn embarked on a long solo career. On his solo debut, Kerosene Man from 1990, he had a good number of guest musicians, with, of course, Concrete Blonde, Jeanette Napolitano, featured on a couple songs, such as the one picked here, Conspiracy of the Heart. All right, they started that fade out awfully early, like at almost 40 seconds. So I figured something else might be happening. Even in 1990, when we love those long outro fade out codas, whatever you want to call them. I just really like that song. I like the atmosphere of it. I like Steve's delivery. It's like a laid back delivery. It's just hard to explain, but I really like his voice and the way he approaches songs. And I thought they worked well together. And the basic thing of the song is at first almost you think he's saying he can take it or leave it, but then he's just telling you that, you know, the relationship's going to be tough and you're going to have highs and lows, but he'll stick it out and persevere through it. But he just needs the conspiracy of the heart, of her heart. So well done. All right, we're up to number 1 on Slade Says Best Male-Female Duet Songs in Alternative Rock. We have Kristen Hirsch and Michael Stipe. Your Ghost from the album Hips and Makers. Kristen Hirsch released her first solo album, Hips and Makers, in 1994, a year or two before her band Throwing Muses went into hiatus for a number of years. The first single of her debut album was a wonderful duet with Michael Stipe, Your Ghost. I found that it released as a single in January 1994, reached number 1 in Iceland, became a top 30 hit in Belgium and the Netherlands, and reached number 45 in the UK. It is the first song on this album, and it is her first solo album. So it's always interested me. What is the first thing you want people to hear from you, whether you're brand new or whether you're launching your own solo career? Also, we have reacted to this song before. We had it in a song battle all the way back in October of 2020. I remember I liked it. I don't remember anything about it. I had to go back and look, like, this sounds familiar. So, I mean, we just do so many videos here. We have over 2,300 up, but I do remember that. And I did do, not this album, but another album of Kristen Hirsch for another one of our patrons. That was fantastic. Your Ghost, just a fantastic song. Vocal performance, atmosphere. And Kristen talked about this. She said, Michael Stipe came across a cassette on my business manager's table. He kind of grabbed it and gave it to Warner's. It was a bit like someone reading your diary, I thought, in the acoustic demo forms. So when I went to record the album again, I was putting Your Ghost down with a cello, which wasn't doing what I wanted. The D tune wasn't coming out the way I wanted it to. I was talking to Michael on the phone. He probably thought I was going to F it up, and he was giving me advice and listening to his tone. It fixed the song. I convinced him to sing on it, telling him it definitely wouldn't be a single. There wouldn't be a video or anything. Haha, luckily he's a good sport about it all. Their voices just work so well together. And it's really just, it's Kristen and Michael's just in there supporting her. It's really a haunting song, Your Ghost. I mean, is he dead or is he just gone? I think he's just gone, not dead, just left her. But it's a very, very well done song, produced well, just love the atmosphere, as I did for many songs on here, which is going to bring me to my favorite tracks, and there's a lot of them. Honorable mentions: the first song, Iggy Pop and Kate Pearson from the B-52s, Candy. 11, Dream Day, Rick Rizzo and Janet Beveridge Bean, It's All a Game. That's more for the arrangement. Next up, the Walkabouts. This one, Chris Ekman and Carla Torgerson, Follow Me an Angel. This one is more for the atmosphere of that song. Marissa Nadler featuring John Cale, Poison. My faves, there's also a lot of these. It's going to be Thin White Rope, Guy Kaiser, and Joanna Gallows Dobkins. Nick Cave and PJ Harvey, you probably already figured that one out. Henry Lee, Steve Wynn, and Jeanette Napolitano, Conspiracy of the Heart, and of course this last one, Kristen Hirsch and Michael Stipe, Your Ghost. I guess that's 8 of the 10. I don't know if that's really a good job of me by narrowing this thing down, but just really, really enjoyed these. Great list as always from Slade Said. They just put together fantastic list. Let me know what you thought of this. What are your favorites below? And until next time, guys, I will see you.